Today's Wade and Carter show. I have no idea.
I'm just going straight into the opening.
Right?
Straight into the opening.
Straight to the obit.
Throwback.
Like this.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
How are you today?
Wonderful. Just excited to be here on a beautiful, what promises to be bluebird, sunshiny day.
I agree.
You want to hear about it?
Yes, let's do this.
Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at Deerland Feed. It's 52 degrees and partly cloudy in Victoria, Texas, heading to a high today of 82 under sunny skies. The only negative, if there is one, is that it's 93% humidity. So 82 at 93% humidity will feel like 147.
Exactly.
But other than that, it'll be a beautiful day.
Beautiful day.
No, it's going to be a nice
much better last night.
No.
Slight breeze, no humidity. Yeah,
well, if my Little League team would have shown up,
berries.
we had a beautiful evening for a Little League outing.
Wind was blowing it out slightly.
Doesn't help us.
Doesn't help many Little
Just
Leaguers,
getting it out of the infield is a big deal. No, and I don't know what you do.
Are you technically Little League at your age group, or
yeah, we're part of the Little League system. You know,
okay.
It's a lot like.
But your kids aren't the ones going to the Little League World Series.
No, you're a Weeblo in Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
We're minor league in Little League.
Gotcha.
But for those of you that have coached, hi Jeff Finley, and we'll get to all our roll call in a minute. For those of you that have coached, there's no doubt that I think more about Little League than my parents do. There's no doubt that I'm more worried about how their kid's playing than they are. They just want the kid to look good and to have fun. And I want them to have fun too. Just, fun is best served to the side of winning. And it's very, very.
If you're not winning, you're not having fun.
No, you can't be, right? You can't be. And I'll tell you something, one great thing.
You can be, but it makes it more fun.
A great thing about Dawn is that she is not like a Little League mom. She's like, all right, you need to focus, get baseball ready, be big, be a gorilla, get around the ball, knock it down. That's why you have a chest. Stop the ball.
She's a better player than you.
She's certainly a better player than everybody on our team. So I look at it as last night we had a game scheduled. Somehow the baseball gods were on our side. The other team forfeited. But then they found out that they had misplaced the correct schedule, and we graciously allowed them to come over from Ganado and just beat the snot out of us. And sorry.
So you didn't get the forfeit.
Well, we won. I mean, on paper we won the game, but they left. They left, and on the way home they were telling their kids, "Yeah, those kids might have got the W, but you kicked their rears, and that's always the position I would rather
put it in their mind for the next time is what they did."
Absolutely. He told his kids they've got to come to our place next time. Yeah, no doubt.
We don't lose on our place.
That's exactly right. Tell us who's in this morning.
Jeff Finley, good morning to you. Richard King, David Glass is in, Scott Snow, Scott Tomko, Marvin Mickish, Diane Tippett, Judge Posey, good morning to you, sir. I think that spot is just solidified and
cemented. That is the Judge
Posey's.
Good morning, Judge.
Like 6th or 7th in.
It's in his contract.
H.R. Mallory, good morning to you. He's been busy.
Hello,
Rena. H.R. lately. Rena Scherer, Bob Watley, good morning, Bobcat. Joel Gomez, there's a coach who got the best out of girls in softball and always had them having fun. Joel Gomez.
Awesome. There's Trace Price. Good morning, Luke. Be good in school today, Luke.
Bobby Leister, good morning to you. Happy 420. Yep, pre-Caldo Tuesday today.
Oh, 420.
Yesterday was 420 Eve. I put a little meme out there saying leave milk and cookies for Willie Nelson.
So, Ricky Williams, a famous UT running back, at the time he got out of college, the all-time leading rusher in NCAA football. Ricky Williams has a new brand, and it's called Heisman, and it's HIGHSMAN, Heisman. For real, they're launching. And 420 is their debut
Is
day.
it CBD oil?
I don't know what it is. It's a brand of lifestyle and clothing products.
Okay.
So I'm sure it's going to be,
I would bet he probably has his own brand of weed in Colorado and some of the other states that, I mean, if anybody's going to know about weed,
it'd be Ricky.
Ricky, if not outside of Willie Nelson.
That's crazy. Does Willie have his own
I
brand?
don't know if he does or not, but he's probably the most famous pot smoker around, right?
Yeah, of course.
He's still smoke. Here's the thing with Willie. He smoked pot when it was still pot.
Right. Now
Ricky didn't smoke pot. Ricky smoked weed.
Or marijuana or, a cultured product. But yeah, Willie, has defied the odds because that stuff will kill you. I don't know, what is he, like 88,
Yeah.
90?
Willie probably swept the bus floor
to get
to looking for weed when he needed some to smoke it.
That's crazy.
It's probably true too. Matt Boucher, good morning. Christina Wise, Bobby Leister says we're at 830 YouTubers. So
we lost one. We lost the one that actually watches.
Yeah. Kendra Douglas, good morning. Terry Murray checking in. Justin Glass, Lisa Poole, Andy Rhea Jr., Patrick Strauss, Amanda Smith King.
Terry Murray.
Richard King says it's.
What's Terry Murray? We know a Terry Murray.
We do know a Terry
Murray. We'll get to her later. Don't get Trey Molina.
I owe Trey Molina a call.
He didn't want to hear from you.
Trey, don't worry.
I'll call you. I'll call you, buddy.
Richard King, good morning. Chris Conrad checking in. Who else? Tracy Price. Robin Moore Knipling. Daniel White, good morning. Joe Gomez says his pot is mountain grown, the richest, most aromatic kind of
right. Fine Colombian marijuana.
It's almost become like marketing coffee in the 70s.
What would you do though? Who is the guy?
Mountain grown.
They appropriated, the rich white coffee companies appropriated Juan Valdez. Remember Juan Valdez? So who would they do?
It's an amalgamation.
Gary Busey. Who would you do to be like your weed guy? It wouldn't be Juan
Snoop
Valdez.
Dogg. It'd be Snoop Dogg with a Willie Nelson headband and Willie Nelson braids,
little dreads. He'd have like Willie dreads.
Yeah, that would probably be it. Maybe looking a little grunge to kind of pay homage to Kurt Cobain.
Right. So I heard something the other day.
Carolee Smith says Cheech and Chong. So that's for our ages. That doesn't fly with the kids who are buying the pot in the stores today.
Something we don't do here ever, of course, is talk politics, and certainly we never, ever let our own biases drift into any political conversations that come up. We're simply here as a forum. But I found it interesting yesterday. I took the time to ask around a bit about this city council race between Jeff Balknight and a gentleman. His last name is Franco, I think. Is that right? I don't know. And I'm not trying to be rude because I heard what I needed to hear. Young guy, outward, forward-thinking guy. Been here about a year and a half. Came from Corpus. And wants to bring some of the great ideas they have going in Corpus to Victoria. That's all I needed to hear. I'm voting for Jeff Balknight. I don't need any Corpus up here. They say don't
California,
whatever.
my Texas.
Yeah, don't Corpus Christi my Victoria, because you talk about a political hotbed mess of goo. That's what Corpus Christi is.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
A lot of corruption.
Bobcat Wally says you take one hit off Willie's weed and it puts you into the high school.
No, that'd be Ricky's.
Yeah, Ricky's weed.
Yeah.
So you got to wonder, because Willie Nelson hangs around UT a lot. You got to wonder if Ricky and Willie get high together. Seriously.
And Matthew McConaughey.
Isn't that something?
Lorena Bargenbrook. This is like a date stamp just stuck on our page now. And I don't
that's that. They don't want us to
know.
I did have a guy walk into a Barton Creek Country Club, and at one table were Earl Campbell, Ben Crenshaw, Tom Kite, and Coach Royal just having lunch together. Pretty impressive.
That was a few years ago.
Yeah. Well, see, Coach Royal's been passed for a while, like probably 8.
Yeah. And Earl doesn't get around so well anymore.
Yeah.
Just to expand on something that was brought up at the end of the Bill Posey show and talking about educated voters. I think Lee said, voters need to get out and if nothing else, educate yourself on the bond and then go vote for the bond, because for the majority of Victoria County residents, that's all we can vote on this election in May. And it troubled me yesterday when I saw that stat. We talked a little bit about it, but not really got into it a whole bunch. But 45% of registered voters in Texas would vote for Matthew McConaughey as governor over Greg Abbott and over any other unidentified candidate. Didn't matter who it was.
A guy he ought to realize his limitations. He's got no business running for governor.
Well, and here's the problem I have. People worry about voter ID, and I worry about voter education. Matthew McConaughey doesn't have a platform on anything, and if he does, he hasn't made it public.
He's just cool.
But you're going to blindly vote for somebody to lead this state simply because?
Well, I think it's kind of voter. It's almost like a backhanded voter apathy. It's like, I'm going to vote for him because it doesn't really matter who sits in that chair. I'll tell you, it does matter who sits in the governor's chair.
Oh, it does matter.
It does matter. And Abbott's ratings with me have began to creep back up. I had him down there in the Cornyn zone. It's like the Mendoza line. When you bat below 200. Cornyn's a dud, people. And it didn't just take our friend Dwayne Stovall to prove that to me. John Cornyn does nothing for Texas. Nothing. He does everything for John Cornyn to get reelected, to get acclamation, to be approved of by his peers on both sides of the aisle. He does nothing for Texas. And I find the idea that Matt McConaughey would run for governor, just because you can get elected doesn't mean you should run. How about that? That's fair. He could probably get elected, but he shouldn't run.
Callie Frommie says Matthew is eye candy, though.
Oh, stop it. See, that is such a sexist remark. What if you said that? Who would we run? Who's a Texas girl? That's
Miss Texas. Let's just say Miss Texas.
Well,
just for sake, because everybody has a picture of what Miss Texas looks
right.
like.
Yeah,
but so if Miss Texas was running and some guy went out and said, "But she's eye candy." Sexist.
They'd be all over it.
Racist.
It's a double standard. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
But that troubles me more than anything. That 45% of registered voters, those who will vote, most likely,
45%. I mean,
that's enough to get him governor.
He ought to sign up.
Would vote for the guy when he, without knowing anything that he stands for.
Let's get on our track and tell you about, if you get off your track, call Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300.
Saw that this morning. Anybody heading north on Main near the Texas Concrete plant, there is one of those large beam hauling trucks that's cattywampus on the so both northbound lanes are blocked.
Is that a Canadian term too?
It's universal.
You've heard it?
Yes.
Cattywampus.
It's universal. So northbound traffic when I was coming in was blocked.
578
detouring you on Mockingbird to Navarro.
6300. The VCS companies just south of that location. No, just north of that location. You'll find the VCS companies on Kerr Boulevard. For everything you need. I mean, seriously, it's
this is a problem with this window. Because we actually have a nice view this morning.
I'm just looking out the window. It says visibility 9 miles. I'd say visibility is infinite.
Not quite as good as it was yesterday, but still, I do catch myself looking, because for the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's been.
Is that Danny Garcia in his boxer shorts? I think I see Danny Garcia in Bloomington.
He's getting the paper
in his boxer shorts. Good. Oh, he's been over. Anyway, the VCS companies can help you with everything electronic. Whether you want to have, digital LED lighting on an app on your phone, whatever, just make something up. They can do it. I'm not kidding you. If you can think of it, somebody's got an app to do it, and the VCS companies can help you do that. Smart home, whether you want to have a video doorbell pro, whether you want surveillance cameras, whatever, just reach out to them for anything.
Control electronic. You want to control everything from your phone.
And if you want to do it sitting in a best recliner, then get down to Chesapeake Furniture, 116 West Wine Lane, corner of Wine Lane and Bridge, for 101 years. really 71 at that location, but get down longer than Bobby Leon's been alive. They've been at that location. Get down there and let Bobby Leon and his family take care of yours, because
Chesnick and Love makes your house a home.
and you just do better at Chesney. Veracruz yesterday, the double TLAC Compuesta, the beans, the ground beef,
Double. You
the
got two of
white
them?
cheese. Oh yeah, the lettuce, tomatoes must be on sale. Had a ton of tomatoes on it. Big dollop of guacamole, 2 baskets of chip, a half a quart of sauce, 14 glasses of tea. Still out for under $20.
Nice.
Get in there and enjoy Veracruz today.
HR Mallory says that Cattywampus 18-wheeler should be cleared. He just left the scene.
Dun, dun, dun. I was working the day watch out of Central. My radio went off. Can you see HR? Just the facts, sir. Just the facts.
Just facts. He's kind of Joe Friday.
He's kind of Joe Friday-ish. Having tremendous success. Thank you to all the Wade and Carter patrons. He's having tremendous success with his autism awareness DPS shoulder patch. And it's just a really creative. When I look at it, it's first of all, it's beautiful. It's well done.
Cool.
And I'm very proud of HR for putting that together. But it also, Ash, it looks like something that an autistic kid would be interested in. Lots of bright colors and pieces, and you know what I mean?
I credit HR for putting it all together and not having one piece missing.
Well, that's a legit point. That's a legit point.
Sheriff Louderback is in. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Sheriff. Sheriff's been tremendously busy lately. In fact, we visited the other day, and I'm flattered. He brought up, I need to come back in. I need to see you guys. Yeah. But in all seriousness, the sheriff has been on like Fox, Tucker, and Sean Hannity.
Yeah, he don't have time for us.
No,
nobody got time for that.
He's been busy. Yesterday, Michael Cloud and Justin Marr were on a show. I don't know whose show it was, but I got a snippet of it from JP Hull, and represented us well. Victoria's getting, you might say, for all the wrong reasons. I mean, I guess with all the influx of immigrants and all that, a lot of notoriety because of being the crossroads. What do you make of, and you folks, what do you make, 575-9509, what do you make of this latest assertion by George W. Bush that America needs to embrace the fact that we're a melting pot and that we're all immigrants? And here's a guy that's the former commander-in-chief.
Did nothing to fix immigration.
Kind of saying that the fact that people are streaming across our border illegally is not that big a deal.
Yeah.
But yet he went through the entire Obama administration without ever saying a word. I just don't understand why.
And now he's basically backing up Joe Biden. If you,
Yeah.
I mean, you break down what he said.
I don't understand. So more than being a Republican or a Democrat, George W. Bush is simply a politician. That's it.
I don't know what his angle is here. Is he going to run for office for something again? And he needs some votes and support, because I don't understand why he's chiming in at this point.
And why would you say essentially that America needs to rethink its immigration restrictions, if you will?
Why is the U.S. the only country that anybody, not only in this country but from around the world, everybody's asking, wow, the U.S. has to rethink its immigration policies and laws.
Yeah.
Nobody else complains about the immigration laws in Canada. Nobody else complains about the immigration laws in Australia. Nobody complains about the immigration laws in most of the European countries.
What if we just
all stricter than this one?
What if we just recreated the Chisholm Trail and herded everybody right up to the Yukon, territory?
Wouldn't get through the border,
right?
Scott Snow says he got woke. Well, maybe he woke up.
So we got a guy over there sitting in our studio, part of the studio audience. He gave me kind of.
Well, we'll bring him in bottom of the hour here. We got a few other things. What do you make of Maxine Waters' rant over the weekend?
She's an idiot. If a Republican did that, Donald Trump said, on a day like today, we should all walk down and let our voices be heard in front of the United States Capitol. They accused him of inciting a riot. Maxine Waters
used it to impeach him.
We've got to get confrontational. We've got to get in these people's faces. And
if they don't find him guilty on first-degree murder, which he's not even charged
He's not
with.
even charged with
We
first-degree murder.
We must do more confrontation or something along those lines.
She's a tremendous
How is she
idiot.
not speaking directly to the jury at that point? Basically threatening them that if they don't find them guilty, I mean,
Yes.
there's so many things wrong on so many levels here. Here you have an elected official.
United States
We have three branches of government in this country, and she's directly trying to influence one of those three branches,
No
in a
doubt.
sense,
No doubt.
right?
And the reality is that
and the outcome of this trial.
there are people in Congress now trying to have her censored. You know, people have lost track. You know, but Biden wants to stack the Supreme Court now, wants to add 4 people to make up for the 3 that Trump got to appoint. People forget that the Supreme Court is not a governing body. The Supreme Court
We've turned it into
they
one.
are essentially the referee. They are the referee of the game between Congress and the Constitution. The Supreme Court is there to determine if things that make it to their court were handled according to the Constitution, and or if certain laws function in line with the Constitution. They are not there to say, we approve of whatever. It's not about their approval. It's about whether or not something is consistent with the United States Constitution. They were never intended to make policy.
But we don't, I mean, civics is a lost study in this country, so
And,
people don't
and
understand
the
that
republic
anymore.
will be lost because of it. Democracy will be stunted because of it.
But I won't be surprised now. I mean, I was convinced Chauvin wasn't going to get charged or convicted of second-degree murder.
He won't.
I don't know enough about their third-degree murder. To me, that's almost like a trumped-up manslaughter charge.
He
in a
third
sense.
or manslaughter, he'll get convicted of.
But I don't see how, regardless of whatever he's convicted on, that this doesn't get appealed and doesn't get overturned on appeal because of Maxine Waters' blatant idiocy. First of all, what the heck is she doing in Minneapolis? She has no business there.
She's like Al Sharpton. She's like Jesse Jackson. She's the Reverend Maxine Waters. She flew all the way over there to make dang sure that there are riots. I agree with Patrick Strauss 100%.
No, exactly. Peter Rinaldi says, but anyway, so Maxine Waters is just guaranteed that at some point, this, in my opinion, this conviction will be overturned.
Peter McNally says that I'm incorrect, that Biden is against stacking the court, that I should read or listen to the news.
Yeah, the Democrats filed the bill, but
I am the news, Pete. I am the news.
Democrats filed the bill. Probably will get through the House. Probably won't get past the Senate.
And you think he'll veto it? You think the president would veto it if the House and Senate passed it?
I doubt it. I doubt it.
I don't think he'd veto it.
No, I don't either. That would be the tell.
That's exactly right.
You know, but it shows you though how little control or influence or even respect Joe Biden has among House Democrats, because their filing of the introduction of this bill came on the heels of him announcing that he was going to put together a committee. They had 180 days to try and determine, a bipartisan committee, whether or not the Supreme Court needs to be expanded. And 2 days later, House Democrats file a bill to expand the Supreme Court.
They didn't even wait.
They don't care about Joe Biden and what he wants. So take that for what it's worth.
You like
I don't know why that's there. That's
who's
weird.
below?
I can't see.
Don.
Can't see.
Oh, that's Don Nicole says, I'm not sure what news you read. Oh, goodness.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. By the way, today's Advocate reporting that a body was found in a burned out vehicle down in Matagorda County. Sad deal.
Very sad.
People that they're not reporting it yet. I think most of you know who, what, when, where, and there is I don't know if suspect is the right word, but a person of interest did turn themselves in to law enforcement, being discussed what's going on, and we'll have more news on that when we get something official from law enforcement. We're good. It's just a good job. Well, George Coleman, folks, by the way, very excited to have Mr. Coleman in tomorrow. the editor of the Advocate. Gonna kind of, and I'd love to have some of your
General
questions.
manager, I think, correct?
Is
Isn't that his term? I think so.
Okay.
Pelosi says no, report accurately. Whatever was inaccurate, and I reported. The House
Peter,
Democrats filed a bill. Peter,
stop digging, Peter.
They don't care about Joe Biden and what he wants. So
I'll go so far as to tell you the Democrats would find a way to get rid of Creepy Joe and let Kamala Harris sign off on that bill. They'd like to have that one.
Has she made a statement yet regarding the
In other news, Kamala Harris said, "Oh, where's Willie when I need some loving?"
I'm waiting for Jack Nicholson's Joker
Oh yeah,
memes to start popping up with her.
Here's Kamala.
Because all she does is laugh, kind of like the Joker did in Batman.
If you want to laugh at other dealerships, reach out to AdsonOffer.com and see the great values on display on the Navarro Motor Mile, just down the road from higher prices, stacking them deep, selling them cheap.
If you don't buy it today, they'll be there tomorrow.
All their new cars are made on Mondays. Reach out to Adson-Hoffer for Chevy, Cadillac, Mazda, Mitsubishi, all models of service, all makes and models of paint and body. They will do inspections for you at the going rate of $7. It's so cheap, it's hard to come. It's like buying something at Harbor Freight. You don't even care that it doesn't work. It's such a good deal.
I'm trying to see if I have a
Get my Adson-Hoffer.
my weekly.
You go ahead. You just do what you're doing. I'll keep doing what pays the bills. White Trash Services, 550-1826. You reach out to BJ and Scott Nelson, Carl, their team over there. My buddy Sean Neely, you know Big Sean. Those guys will give you weekly trash service. They'll do a roll-off dumpster, special events. You want to have a fundraiser, they'll help you. Reach out to White Trash Services at 550-1826. 7-county region, Holiday Beach, Rockport, Lavernia, parts of southern Colorado, and even into Las Vegas. It's White Trash Services, 550-1826. JP Hull, super busy. You just drop bullet points for JP. Encryption, donation,
analytics,
monetize, continuity, brand awareness, brand development, Facebook, the internet, websites.
Honest enough to tell you, you don't have a brand, you don't have an internet presence. You need to develop all that.
He did that when I ran for office. He said, "Nah, gonna pass." JP Hull, White Trash Services. He will help you.
JP Hull, White Trash Services. Razor IT Solutions. Close.
Well, he's probably got a dumpster in his yard. It just flows off the tongue, that White Trash Services. The law offices of Steve Kidder. If JP wants to sue me for dropping his name into the dumpster, he can call the law offices of Stephen Kidder. Steve Kidder will help you with everything: trust, probate, reprobate. Somebody's out of line. Steve Kidder will help you with an adoption, a divorce. He can bring you together. He can get you apart.
Basically anything legal, Stephen.
Yeah, if you've done something illegal, reach out to Steve Kidder. He'll help you. And then complete line of supplements and strawberry banana smoothies and paninis and wraps, and all of it's healthy, all of it's chock full of protein. If you're working out, if you need something to help you kind of rehydrate afterwards.
Is Bill Winlet starting a dog walking service?
Is that Billy out there?
That looks like Bill, and I see Lulu on one side, and there's either a cat or another dog on the other hand.
There's not many 6'7" redheads walking around. Bill Walton's not in town, so do we? Bless his heart, Peter. Now we love Pete McNally, and it's not just because he gives us free, straight lines. He says, listen to something besides Fox. They're listening to us, Pete, and we're nowhere near as biased as Fox, and you know that, or you wouldn't listen. And we're sitting here saying that, look, if you really believe that all things being equal, Joe Biden would not relish the opportunity to be the president that appointed 4 Supreme Court justices, you're being disingenuous.
It's his legacy because he doesn't have one. Prior to this, it was
he was
I'm against busing, I'm for segregation.
Robert Byrd was a friend of mine. I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. That is Joe Biden. And at the end of the day, the only thing that makes him better than Walter Mondale is that he got elected president. They're about the same age. Mondale died in his mid-90s. His claim to fame being the backup to the worst president in modern history, Jimmy Carter. So there you have it.
Second worst.
Well,
No.
are you blaming Barack?
No. The current president.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, he'll take that. Look, T-Lat says we don't watch Fox.
I don't watch Fox.
I'm thinking Pete McNally and T-Lat in a cage match, like no holds barred.
Pete's wiry.
Pete's a nice man.
Might go to a decision.
Pete is the guy that gives me empathy for the left because I'm like, he's a nice guy. He's well-meaning. He just doesn't get it.
I like how Don just thinks he was talking to him.
Third worst is Chris Conrad, and he's bringing Trudeau into this.
Maybe so. Andy Schneider says Joe would not veto it.
Joe would not veto it, therefore Joe is not against it. He can say, "Oh, I don't think we need to stack the court," but whoa,
oh wait, I gotta go with the will of the people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's exactly how that would go down. If the people want more Supreme Court justices, come on, man.
They ought to take it back to 6. That's how many there were, I think, intended to be. You want to get your buddy in here over here?
Yeah, he's too busy enjoying the
He's
view.
just sitting there looking out the window like a neutered cat.
I'm looking at the birds.
You know,
he's looking at the birds.
I said you look like a neutered cat. You're just sitting there looking out the window
at the birds.
What things would have
been? You no longer have the drive to go chase and eat anymore.
We need to get away from me, boy. You bother me. It's our friend Emmett Alvarez is in studio. Mr. Alvarez, how are you, sir? You know the drill on that microphone.
How are you, sir? Yeah, it's working well.
The melodious tunes of the conservative left. It's Emmett Alvarez. You're one of the last. Tell the truth. You probably have more monetary.
Hold on. Pete makes a point, and I want to just point out real quick. He says, "Don't you see what would happen? 13 now, 15 when Republicans win, and it's wrong on both counts."
Yeah, I agree, Pete. Now that's a good point. Yeah. Right there, Pete McNally brought value to the show.
Austin Hicks, good morning.
You probably have more fiscal responsibility arguments with quote unquote Democrats than you do Republicans.
Probably.
I mean,
I'll get beat up by the left.
Because essentially you end up you're a conservative person.
Grew up that way.
It's because we called it poor. Yeah. We just didn't know.
We called it very poor.
Right. We just didn't know.
You didn't have a choice. You couldn't spend money on things that didn't matter to your day-to-day existence, right?
And I tell you what, you just didn't have it.
So I'll tell you, you and I are not. We're absolutely peers in the age department. We joke about being old, and we are not. But it was of interest to me this last weekend. Dawn and I went over, and I have an aunt. My dad has 3 sisters, and the middle sister had passed away at like 78. Lots of health issues, and finally passed away. It was truly a celebration type. It wasn't a funeral. She passed away in January. We all got together and kind of made a reunion out of it. But my aunt, the sister that's between them, was telling the story about my granddad living in Alvoyd, Texas, and dropping. So he had 5 older sisters and then him dropping out of school after the 4th grade because they needed help on the farm. They talked about referenced a letter that my grandfather sent home the 2nd week of January with money detailing that he was working on a stretch of Highway 287 between Fort Worth and like going to Vernon, like Wichita Falls, that stretch of Highway 287. So it's cold up there in December and January. And
what year? Was there a year in the letter?
Yeah, listen to this. So he's born in like 1905, 1908. It's pre-Depression. He sends this letter home talking about thank y'all for the birthday, for the Christmas card. They had like a work camp. So he was fed and a place to sleep. Here's all the money that I've earned, except I took out enough to get a coat. And I've worked, with the exception of 2 days when I was sick and they kept me in the infirmary, I've worked every day for the last 3 weeks. Negated to mention that his 17th birthday was on December the 31st. So we have people now that we talk about white privilege and we talk about all these things. And I'm just one father away from a man who dropped out of school in the 4th grade because the farm had to be worked, who worked on a highway crew at 17 in the winter without a coat, didn't celebrate a birthday, and sent all the money home.
And was honest enough to admit that he didn't send it all home because he needed a coat.
And you start, it's very, very humbling for a kid who was able to go to Texas and not have to work. When I worked at Texas, it was extra money. Truly, yes, sir, truly a benefit. So talk to us about, I know that the big
Speaking of
picture,
spending money,
yeah,
that's
it's
probably
about,
why you're here, right?
we were talking about school bond money and just tell us where your heart's at on that, because I know you've spent lots of time and thought on it.
Well, wasn't for the bond the last time. I thought that was extravagant. It wasn't the time, it was right after Hurricane Harvey. And now here we are again, debating this bond, which unfortunately the VISD side doesn't want to have a debate. They just prefer to go out and talk to people or audiences. But I called for a debate months ago, asking the advocate use Channel 25 here, TV station, similar to what we did in 2017.
So,
But there has
Well,
been
but-
no attempt, or the other side has just declined the debate.
Well, but I would argue they had 2 public information sessions last week that were set up, and nobody showed up to them. I think 8
I
people.
went the first one.
Was there a Q&A period? Could you ask questions? So they had the opportunity to ask questions and address. But I mean, it may not be a debate forum, but the opportunity to question and ask questions was there. But when nobody shows up, that bothers me more than anything. That you've got an issue that so many people are so heated about when you look at social media, and 8 people out of the almost 100,000 in this county that would be impacted show up. That's troubling.
Well, that's on one side. There's no opportunity to have the other side come up using government resources, school resources, mind you, the Fine Arts Center, you're paying for the lights and the janitor, and you're also got Dr. Shepard and his staff on site. They're getting salary or hourly, who knows? They're putting their resources.
Well, but let's say they did this somewhere else. They'd be criticized for spending money to rent someplace when they have a place.
The point that I'm making is it's all been from one side. Their point of view, they have unlimited resources, but they won't sit down and have a debate. It doesn't have to be Fine Arts Center. It can just be here on the Wayne Carter Show or somewhere else.
we'd love that.
We
We would.
sit there and counter each other. I've been accused of putting out misinformation. Okay, what is that misinformation?
Yeah, I don't think you're in the misinformation business, but I have a question for you about the bond way back when was kind of crafted together by Dr. Jacklich and his staff and the people that they trusted input from. And now you move forward and Dr. Shepard has been true to his framework. And I don't know the exact moving forward together, community driven dialogue. And we've had task forces and groups of Victorians that got together who, if I'm right, Ash, kind of came to a consensus, right, about this is, if we're only going to do X, Y, and Z, then let's do this as X, Y, and Z. And that's what, I think that's how the school district would counter is we're putting before the public what the task force said we needed to put before the public. And I know you served on some of those when you were involved in that process and then attended, as did I. And you find yourself saying, well, at that point, do you not vote on it? If you've got enough people on the task force, if you will, to say, hey, this is what ought to happen.
Right. And I was on that task force up until March last year when COVID hit. And they reassembled in late fall of last year to continue the process. I was asked to continue to serve, and I declined. I was not feeling very well. My health was really bad.
By the way, we're glad you're feeling better. We're glad you're back.
Thank you. And so I was home in bed or on the couch most of that time and did not participate. And then the criticism I have of task force, sometimes you have to look at the makeup. You participated too. Sometimes it was school district driven. They were the moderators, they were the facilitators, their facilities where you had hand-picked members, including a number of the ISD and other educators. Don't know how many community members actually serve. And you also have to take a look at the attendance. You may say you had 32 members on this committee, but in reality, how many attended the meetings and who participated? to drive and who drove that whole process. The criticism also about that was they assembled last fall, had a bunch of Zoom meetings, which I never liked, rushed to get some kind of recommendation to the school board, and they quickly took that recommendation, voted for it, so they could put it on the ballot. So did they rush the process?
Well,
I think so.
Tell me this: if I know that you, we've discussed probably ad nauseum here the issues of building maintenance, of repair and replacement of facilities. We've got the Stroman deal as a separate deal. Whether we refurbish it, do we tear it down? Is the STEM program important? All that. Where I'm going to give you the wand. What would you spend money on, and how would you bring that expenditure to the public?
Well, first of all, what I find difficult to understand is that this bond is going to build new facilities, and we're going to improve our education system, and we're going to put a better product out there with students that are skilled, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, well, what are we paying money for now? And what are we getting now? Are we getting our money's worth now? You're saying with the product and the student we're putting out, again, we recognize that they're not academically successful. They're not even worthy to go, get a minimum wage job. I mean, what are we paying for now? And the other argument being, let's build these new buildings, these facilities, and our academics are going to improve. Well, 10 years ago or so, we built new buildings, high schools, elementaries, junior high. And you look at what they've been doing and how they've been performing these last 10 years, not so good. So what's, these new buildings going to do? I think, and my thought was originally when I started serving on this bond task force, was to just look at the facilities district-wide and what do we need to fix those facilities? How can we improve them? Can we repair them? They're salvageable. Can we repair them? Do we need to go down to the bones of the building and start over? What all does each facility need? Victoria College, if you noticed years ago, they took some of their old buildings that were probably built in the 50s,
right,
and gutted them, refurbished them to some very nice facilities, and they're still standing. You and I are alma mater. Think about all the buildings.
There's a lot of buildings over there.
Old buildings.
Yep.
Old buildings that they would remodel and bring back to life. Again, was that really a plausible solution? They did a study that Huckabee architects that went around and looked at all buildings. I think they assessed total repair and bringing everything up to code, et cetera, 150, 160 million. Priorities, because they broke it down. Priorities about 50, 60 million, which is in the bond right now.
Right. That's at 48. That's the 48, 58. Okay, function of it.
They got that in the bond right now to do some of that repair and replacement, et cetera. And honestly, I don't think that goes for it. That money is going to drive. They budgeted out.
50 million doesn't last very long.
Not in today's economy where steel and lumber prices are through the roof.
Right.
And not looking like they're going to come down.
Is your proposal then that people vote against this bond, defeat this bond, and then go back to the drawing board with, or what would you
like to see?
How do you see it playing out?
Well, let's see what the voters decide. I'm voting against it. I think a lot of people are. I don't know whether it's going to fall before against. I think it's important everybody to vote first of all, but so we get a good idea where the public and the taxpayers feel about it, the voters. That's just hypothetically, if it does not pass, if it fails, yes, let's go back to the drawing board. But a lot of the work has been done. We prioritize, I think, the repairs of the facilities, et cetera. Now, if you recall, after the last bond election in 2017, a lot of the public said, hey, our teachers need it. And we've heard that constant drum beat for a very long time. And there is an opportunity also to take to the voters if the school board is inclined, this all falls on the school board. Yeah, point fingers at a task force, point fingers at the community, or whatever. The school board ultimately makes these decisions to vote and decide to put things on the ballot.
But if they're going to have a system where they want consensus from this task force, and
That's
there was
the
no
problem.
consensus
That's
this
what I've
last
been
time
told.
when this was presented, that, if they're not going to move forward unless there's consensus from those that they have engaged in the process, then, the board isn't going to want to.
I think they make the argument there was consensus. Who exactly, but that was a task force. You can say, well, they represented the community. Of course, there were a lot of community members and BISD and other.
But let's be honest, though, here, Emmett. In 2017, what was the biggest criticism from that $140 million bond that they tried
The
to float out?
stadium.
They didn't listen to the people. The people didn't want this. So at least they've engaged people this time. So, I mean, they're damned if they do and damned if they don't in many ways.
I don't disagree with that because they did a lot better job this time. Reaching out. It was up to you to engage the school district. You want to participate on task force. It was up to the citizens to go to the information meetings, or participate and watch the meetings. They're all on their website.
Well, and I've never got the feeling from you that you're anything but supportive of Quentin Shepard. I think he's a very, very sharp gentleman, and
I think if it loses you, he'll leave. I hope not.
I don't want him to leave.
No.
I want him to stay.
No, but I think the issue, though, is at the trustee level. in a
Yeah,
lot of
Ricky
ways.
King says, I just got my tax appraisal and it went up. So that means the school district's going to make more money anyway.
Yeah, Patrick Strauss kind of echoes that the appraisal district didn't do them any favors. But here's James Kurth has a question, and to me, there's a couple of ways you could spin this. Why does it seem that they always wait to an election offseason to push a bond? Lowest voter turnout in a non-presidential election cycle decides for the majority because of voter apathy. And that's the problem. But we've spent more time on this issue in this offseason on this show than we probably would have if this was on during a presidential election. So I don't know that you solve the problems of voters not giving a damn about something like this.
I agree.
They're going to be apathetic whether it's a presidential election or not. And do you have the same problems? I'd rather have a bunch of people who care about it go vote than a bunch of people who don't care about it and vote, and the wrong outcome comes from a bunch of uneducated voters, which is the problem in this country, in my opinion, in many ways, as ties back to the fact that 45% of registered voters would vote for Matthew McConaughey, not knowing a damn thing about where he stands on anything that matters to Texans.
So you wonder if the logic used to be, Ash, if it's a VISD issue, we got 2,000 votes in our pocket because we have 2,000 employees of the district. And, go vote for yourself, go vote to help your company. You got to figure in an off election like this. I don't know what voter turnout's going to be, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not more than 10,000 people.
Oh, that's right.
So then, you got 2,000 votes in the bag. You think you do okay,
You think you do.
Well, I think that's the old mindset. If we put it in on this off cycle, well, it'll pass.
What about, look at that, Adam Sugar says you nailed it, or Andy says you nailed it, and Adam says preach. What do you think, Emmett, about, so we talked yesterday, Mike Mercer says, I love Emmett, but all the answers he's looking for can be found on the district website, including every single Zoom meeting of the task force. You can see who served, who should have reached meeting, and how the consensus was arrived at. Of course, that's board president Mike Mercer. So question for you, Emmett, because this is just a viewer interest, and they're respecting your opinion. Patrick Strauss says, ask Emmett how he feels about St. Joe being able to use Memorial Stadium. Because my suggestion the other day was, let them use it for free. They're taxpayers, because I made the comment, if you've got the means to send your kid to St. Joe, that's okay, because you're still paying VISD taxes. And then you start saying, well, what does that guy get for his taxes? He, in theory, gets an educated populace around him, but can his kid go play football at the stadium? And the answer is no. They play over there, and the
Patty Welders
northeast end zone
Bloomington this year.
is dead. They go to Bloomington to play. Yeah. Would you have a problem with just saying, let them use the stadium?
I don't have a problem. Pay for electricity. What's that going to cost? and let them use it. I mean, they
Staff to clean up, whatever little bit of staff you might have. Maybe, I don't know.
But here's the point. It's less
free.
it's less than their tax dollars. It's less than their tax dollars. That's the point.
If you sing for free, well, I like free too.
But you get it free, right? If your kid goes to VISD, shoots up for a football game, they don't bill you. You pay taxes for that.
We enjoy our tax money going.
Yes, sir.
Going to operate that.
So there you go, Patrick. You're good.
But I think, St. Joe, thank God for St. Joe.
Right.
Because St. Joe, along with a lot of other education institutions, there have been options for the public to send their kids elsewhere. Because, and that's, you wonder, well, the school district has lost a lot of population, student. Why?
Then
they have these options to go to St. Joe. They have options to go to OLE and Faith Family and so many others.
And St. Joe took a hit. You talked about bricks and sticks, and we built new schools, and it depleted St. Joe originally. It's funny how people assume that a new church building creates a new doctrine. I think Dr. Shepherd has done a good job of continuing an awareness of the doctrine, but I don't think that new buildings is going to make our schools any better. Dale Zuck makes a good point that I've bought into. He breaks it down into one statement. If you're for this bond, you should get your head around the fact that very, very soon we need to have another election to vote a teacher pay raise. The bond does absolutely nothing to increase teacher pay. And it doesn't do any good to have a beautiful, shiny stadium if you don't pay the coach. At some point, you got to have the coach.
No, and they still struggle to have enough teachers in the classroom. A lot of substitutes, teachers leaving the district, and that may be standard operating. But
There's a lot of districts that have problems finding teachers and using a lot of substitutes or emergency certified teachers across the state and country. It's a problem nationwide.
It is a shortage of teachers before. I think that's been predicted for a long time. Why is there a shortage of teachers? Who wants to get into education? The STEM program, the problem.
Well, because they can make more on a universal basic income if they just wait for Joe Biden to pass it.
Well, you never know. He might stay home and get a check from the government.
Right.
The point I was trying to make there, though, is that with the STEM program or any of these other more sophisticated instruction programs that they're introducing, you need a pretty good quality teacher. Are they going to be able to put a teacher in the classroom?
Right.
Given the struggles they have now. And going forward, I don't think they've answered that question. And that's.
Well, I do think, though, with that STEM facility, they'll attract teachers that want to be there. It's hard to teach cutting edge technology when you don't have cutting edge technology.
Right.
And you don't have cutting edge pay because if it's a choice between here or making $5,000 or $10,000 more in the valley, I'm going to the valley.
Right, absolutely. And when I'm driving north on 59 the other day, I can't tell you exactly where we were, but south of Wharton, there is a huge billboard. Wharton wants you. If you're a qualified teacher, reach out to us.
And you see some of those ISDs even come in Victoria trying to recruit.
Yes, sir.
Our teachers take away our teachers, and they are leaving. So, I don't know how you address that. If you pass the bond, there's really no more room. Taxes are people get ready. Taxes are going to go away. You've seen our values go up, the appraisal values that just came in, and that's based on the current tax rate.
Yeah, I'm going to dispute mine.
When,
Right, you've got to dispute
I
them.
highly recommend that.
And you usually win if you dispute. Usually.
You got to bring some.
Yeah, you got to bring some evidence.
No, I forgot. If you're white. I'm sorry, Emmett. If you're white, you go down, they go, oh, I didn't know you were white. Okay, no problem. Take 10%
I
off.
always hired an agent, a white agent.
Right, there you go. You got to get a white agent to take care of it.
No, I was on the board.
Might be time to bring Kinsey McGrew back on.
Right,
our show
get
for a
Kinsey
second.
McGrew.
Yeah.
That's right.
Rena Scherer says teachers don't have the discipline ability that they used to have. And I think that's part of it.
You can tell Emmett got slapped around a lot as a kid in school. Teacher
The strap.
What I thought was different between when I went to VSD and now, I said, well, I haven't been in the school district now as a student. I couldn't tell you that part, but from examples and my stepson going to school and so forth, I said, I get the feeling that the teachers that you and I experienced,
Yes, sir.
That is here at VSD, they have a lot of empathy. care.
No, they
They
didn't.
took personal interest in your life.
And a lot of them had kids our age, so we ran around with their kids, and they, they knew us.
There was a lot of crossing.
Yeah, I'm gonna call your dad, Carter. You better act right.
Right. But all my experiences from kindergarten over at it was Hopkins and then Allen Elementary, Crane Junior High, and Strowman. All my teachers were just good people beyond the.
Can you see little Emmett Alvarez quoting the Constitution to a junior high teacher? Just saying, no, you can't do that. I have the Bill of Rights. I can see it.
Yeah, I dictated this.
Right.
Miss Sloan taught us that in high school.
You have no rights.
You have no rights in my classroom.
Patrick Strauss says, I disputed his taxes one time. It was a bad experience. He says he's just going to pay it and then move when he retires. That's a terrible
All
mindset for
Patrick
future
needs,
Victoria.
all he needs is his lovely bride in her red hat and a fishing hole. He wants to move to a little cabin down around Port O'Connor and just wade fish every day.
Patrick, take Lori down with
That's
you
all he
to
does.
that
Take
to that
Lori.
to that
He
dispute of your taxes.
He wants to, take Lori and tell her to put the red hat on. He just wants a place where he can walk out his front door in the morning, walk straight into the bay. One day he just won't come back. It'll just be like a Viking funeral.
Lieutenant Dan.
The fellow that State Farm agent went to Mexico.
What is his name? Bruce Woods.
Yeah.
Sweet, And
Yeah.
I see him on Facebook every now and then.
Hey, none of his clients knew he was in Mexico, but now they do.
So I don't know how he does his business. I guess
That's the beauty of the internet.
We see him down there.
I mean, heck, he got ahead of the curve. Everybody else been working from home for the last year, and he's been working where he wants to.
Omar Rashid, we got into last night on Facebook because he's sitting over there working somewhere.
I figured Omar would come home and run for mayor in this next cycle.
From Turkey,
Yeah.
He's still supporting this bond. And I said, well, do you still own a house here or did you sell it? No, I sold my house.
Then shut up.
Very good.
Right, shut up and go away, Omar.
So you didn't even get the appraisal value.
No,
right.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of a problem I have with the way things are run in all elections. You get a lot of people, outsiders, who have no interests other than the power that they perceive they can get from something. And you saw it in Georgia with the elections there for the 2 Senate seats. You saw a bunch of money coming from outside of Georgia. You saw a bunch of people, moving to Georgia just so they could cast a vote. So
Patrick Strauss agrees. Maybe that was his problem. He didn't take Lori.
No, but I mean, if you don't have skin in the game, you got no business chiming about it.
Speaking of skin in a game, you will have skin in this game when you pass away. Reach out to Dana Moore De La Garza, 652-9157. Let Dana help you plan, pay for in advance your funeral. It's like Expedia death. Like you pay for it in advance, you get there, you get a couple of advantage miles, you show up and you're done. It's not a bad deal. 652-9157. Dana Moore De La Garza can help you find a lot. She can help you make the arrangements with Grace Funeral Home. You can have Charlie Heibel play the trumpet, whatever you want. She can do it. Terry Murray, you saw her chicken earlier. Terry Murray, Bob Marley's sister. Terry Murray,
541-5454 is the number.
541-5454 is with Motto Mortgage. She can help you refinance a home, get your first mortgage, your second mortgage. She can help you do a cash out refi. Interest rates are so low now. You can dump your old mortgage, refinance for the same term, and lower your payment. Wind services, wind generators, electric, plumbing, they've got it all. Cummins, Briggs & Stratton, Kohler, Generac, American-made products for American-made tragedies. Get ready for storm season. It's right around the corner. Call Wind Services today.
40 days away?
Yes, 40 days and 40 nights. Call USA Concrete Coatings 578-HOME. Charlie Garcia will come out. He'll give you an estimate to put a new, beautiful, colored, textured polyurethane coat. Won't peel, won't stick, won't crack, won't fade. It won't stick to your tires.
It's 4 times stronger than any other product on the market.
He'll seal the cracks in your garage floor, level everything up, and put this coating down. You'll be glad you did it. The Great Barn, reach out to Cheryl for your next party. She decorates people. She's not in the theme business. Tell her what you want done. Get
She'll
out of
get
the
it. Yeah,
way.
she'll get it
Enjoy
done.
your party. 920-6803.
And she's already booking weddings in the 2023, so and other events. So things are-
920-6803. HR Mallory says getting those over 65 are exempt to vote for the bond. Group turns out to vote in an off cycle, and their yes vote doesn't change anything for them.
Well, their values go up.
Yeah. Of course, they say, well, that doesn't affect them because they're exempt. I can't wait to be 65. Are you kidding me?
And HR just got back from, I think it was in Washington, D.C. for a little bit, doing some work up there.
Can James Kurtz? He says, I considered teaching as an option coming out of the military, but no, I'd get in trouble or fired at no time. Can you imagine?
I wouldn't last 5 minutes.
Oh, no, we wouldn't, because we wouldn't put up with it.
No.
Yeah, wouldn't put up with it.
No, not at
So,
all. Kelly Furman says, I wonder if the school board realized this election was timed to coincide with a property valuation notice.
no, I'm certain they did not.
Wow, I think it happens.
Two of the school board members sit on the appraisal board, so they.
Yeah, well, they're getting a raise then. They're getting a raise already, whether you vote for this bond or not.
They're going to, unless they go with the effective rate and the caps of those.
But I don't. But I mean, it's purely coincidental, right? Because the election has to happen at this time, or it doesn't, right?
No,
Doesn't it?
voters and taxpayers beware. Look what just happened with that appraisal valuation. That's with the current tax rate. The entities over the summer will be more likely raising their rates, or hopefully lowering them, given
To the effective tax rate, right?
Effective, let's hope.
So,
But you're going to be paying regardless more come next year when you get your tax bill. This was just your valuation.
so what do you do, Emmett? What do you do? What do you recommend if you agree and understand that there's $58 million worth of work that needs to be done, and that may not even be enough, but that needs to be done. This is not like new plantation shutters in the classroom. This is making sure the AC comes on next fall.
Well, and that's part of the problem. The state doesn't allow you to basically address these needs except with a bond.
So how do you reconcile your conscience that doesn't want to vote for the bond with the little children that need these basic fundamental amenities? What do we do? So you've identified the problem. The problem is that the bond timing is bad, that we don't like where some of the money's going. So now give me the solution. What is the solution?
Well, I would have thought a long time ago, every year the school district and this board would be setting aside money every year to tackle one building at a time.
But they didn't. I mean, and then I don't hold Dr. Shepard accountable for that either.
It's just some responsibility, in my opinion, going on there for a couple of decades now.
That's all. It's a couple of decades.
So yeah, it's going to be tough.
You can say the same thing about this entire city.
But do we tighten our belts and say, hey, let's get, and Emmett would agree, during even your time on city council, where are these roads, Emmett? We're in the same boat as a city that the district's in.
Well, we can go down that.
Emmett didn't want to spend no money on them roads, did he, Ash? He didn't want to spend no money on them roads.
I know our neighborhood over here across the street, all those roads are getting done one street at a time.
Yes, sir.
You look at Red River and that improvement, you look at Crestwood, and they're moving finally towards that section there at Shields. It should have been done all.
Yes, sir.
But they've gotten it one phase at a time.
Dairy Treat.
A lot of it's phased, unfortunately, because it costs so much money. But I see a lot of improvements. We've put in excess 200 plus million worth of improvements over the years. A lot of it's underground because that's what happens with a lot of these projects. Because they're old, because they've also been worn out, they got to dig up the ground, put in new water, sewer lines, all that trash, and then come back.
Yeah, people don't understand. I think a lot of times that the majority of the expense is the stuff you don't see.
Yeah,
the stuff you don't see. And it is that way with this bond as well, Ash. It's things you don't see. You can spend $60 million and nothing would look different. It's not like when you got East and West high schools. You got nothing. It's just that Hal has AC,
And that's going to be the challenge if it doesn't pass. How they're going to proceed, I would think, again, another year's worth of trying to prioritize it.
Now, I agree with HR Mallory on this to a T. He says, build a new Stroman capable of housing students from Patty Welder in 5 to 10 years. If we need to build new schools, then make a new one to replace two. I have no problem with that. I think there's some restrictions on STEM money that involves
Yeah.
STEM
But
only facilities.
As we heard from Mike Mercer, that Stroman campus would be built to excess, so could easily absorb them if they decided. I think you could reduce your footprint. Maybe you build more schools, but smaller schools.
Well, and locations too. Having two junior highs within a mile of each other makes sense.
All right.
Well, at the same time, basically having two high schools within a mile of each other with Victoria High and
They really
Stroman High
are.
didn't make a lot of sense either.
Well, East and West aren't that far apart, really.
Well, we use a loop, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't want to walk.
No.
No, but we could all just do like Matt McConaughey, just like we could just all grow cannabis,
Yeah.
right, and just chill.
Do you live in Austin?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, he's an Austin
He's
guy.
a cultural.
Bill Posey
he's
calls
the-
him
he's the
a
UT
Holly
culture minister.
weirdo, but he lives in
Born in Uvalde.
Yeah, he's
Texan.
I'm part of that 45%.
he's employed by Texas.
We'll
Yeah.
see. That's going to be interesting regardless of how that race goes.
Oh yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming on. I'll tell you this, I don't feel like, and I don't feel like Ash and I have really done anything but just provide a forum. You know, I mean, I respect your opinion. We've enjoyed having Dr. Shepard and Dr. Bonewald on. We had Mike Mercer.
Did you
on
feel
this week.
attacked coming in here? Did you feel attacked?
Even all the talking of the Democrats.
Well, you know, people don't want me and you to get along. You know that.
Of course.
Yeah. Because if we got along, we could communicate. And if we communicated, we might actually develop a consensus and something might actually get done. And we can't have
I
that.
have no problem listening to people from everywhere with ideas that make sense. I don't,
And Emmett. And we let Emmett come in.
Damn it.
I'm the quota or the token.
You're our guy. We had to check. Lilo says every now and then you got to have a Latino check. We got Emmett. I always thought Emmett was Italian. Right? I thought he was Italian.
It was Italian.
Changes. It was Alvaredo, but then he changed it to Alvarez.
I like pizza.
There you
No,
go.
Marino.
Hey, we're glad you're healthy. We love you to
Appreciate
death.
it.
You folks have a great
We
day.
appreciate everybody tuned in today. Thank you very
Hey,
much.
very informative Tuesday from dust, from ashes. We resurrected the Phoenix of the show.
Absolutely.
Love you guys. Have a great day. Be safe. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye,
Bye.
folks.